Hi, I'm Richard Willing. Welcome to Cult 273, The Rulers of Now, Part 3. Another significant, but like the Lusitania murders, but not discussed in proper context, is the so-called Rape of Nanking. This Chinese city was reported as maliciously, without purpose, destroyed and massacred by the heinous acts of the Japanese in 1937. This sets the psychological tone for the World War II to come. The facts dispute the story. It seems the Chinese nationalist government had decided to make a truce with Japan in order to actively pursue the war against the Chinese communists. Back-channel diplomacy had arranged for the Japanese to send a truce commission to meet the nationalist Chinese representatives in Nanking for the signing of the Armistice of Friendship and Peace between Japan and China. The Treaty of Friendship between China and Japan was intended and agreed to force all Western interests out of China. Japan would take over all previously Western commercial rights and territorial concession imposed upon China by the Imperial West. This could spell the end for communist success in China when met with the combined forces of nationalist China in the south and military Japan from the north. The New World Order had other plans. This treaty would have meant the end of British opium sales in China and consequently an economic depression in India, the supplier of the opium. About 23% of the India GDP came from British-controlled drug sales to China. The flow of drug money from Hong Kong banking into international banks would have been finished. The worry that a victorious Japan would end the drug flow to China was enough to cause the U.S. to impose trade and financial restrictions on Japan. This hardship helped provoke Japan into attacking the U.S. fleet at Pearl Harbor to begin World War II. It is worth note that barely 15 years later, when the Chinese communists took over China, that the British simply abandoned India. Without opium revenue, the jewel of the empire was suddenly without value. In a fit of spite, the Crown divided India into Pakistan and India, thus guaranteeing continual conflict. Conflict is the fuel of the New World Order. The U.S. military forces that were to become the black operations muscle of the developing BISWAG, the core of the New World Order, the U.S. Marines were called to action. Mobilized from U.S. gunboats already patrolling on rivers in China and dressed as Chinese commandos, they intercepted and slaughtered the Japanese peace mission while it was en route to Nanking. Acting in outrage retaliation for perceived betrayal, the Japanese attacked without mercy the Nanking capital of nationalist China. The New Order press immediately reported what they called unthinkable Japanese atrocities in Nanking. Insidious misinformation created and reinforced Japanese suspicion of a nationalist Chinese betrayal and murder of the peace mission. The vengeance of the Japanese High Command on the nationalist Chinese city of Nanking was a consequence of false flag trickery by what was to become BISWAG, British Israel Zionist World Occupation Government, the beginning of the New World Order. We are thunderstruck by this spontaneous set of revelations by our visitor, Emma of Casabazua, a small town just north of Ottawa. A nice lady, she reportedly discovered during a past life regression seance with Wilma, her mentor in Tuktoyaktuk, that she once was Queen Juana of Castile, the first woman Jesuit at the Vatican in 1555. There she was known unkindly as Loco Lola. We study Loco carefully, looking for signs of a spontaneous episode of past life regression or perhaps evidence of post-abduction hypnotic influence. She is accomplished as a deep trance channeling medium and remote viewers. Sometimes her talents obscure her more or less normal self. This is especially true after a session of contact and abductions by ETs. I'm Richard Willing. Thank you for listening.